all you ghoulish gourmets. And Steve's mocking me in there. And welcome to yet another movie Munchies. I am so sorry for the delay. I was trying to get my phone to connect to the camo software so I could have my extra camera today. And as I told many of you, like if you were in my streams and stuff, that I was going to go ahead and bake the cake beforehand, make the buttercream frosting, but I am going to show you kind of partially on camera because don't really have a camera over my stove. So sorry for the messy hair, but I've been going here, there, and everywhere today, and it's kind of just everywhere. So I have my ingredients measured out for the sugar glass that we're actually going to be kind of sort of making on camera. The cake is baked. In fact, I'm going to show you that cake right now. I'm having a little bit of trouble showing the whole pan. I was trying to get adjusted on here. There we go. That's a little better. Where y'all can see the whole cake. Now, that is not a black spot in the middle of it. That was simply where I was poking in the cake to make sure it was done. Because this was a weird recipe. It told you to put it on 336 degrees Fahrenheit. And I checked a bunch of times just to make sure they weren't saying Celsius. But hey, Blissful. Hey, Kathy. And this cake smelled really good while it was baking. I haven't actually taken a taste of it, but I suspect it's going to taste as good as it smells. Also, I had I mixed up the buttercream frosting. Now, I don't know why this buttercream frosting doesn't look as creamy as I wanted it to. It looks kind of foamy, but trust me, it tastes delicious. But it just, I don't know. I don't know what I could have done wrong to make it foamy like that. Um, I don't know if it was the type of butter I used or what. But trust me, it tastes delicious and it is creamy and all of that stuff. It just looks a little funny. And I really don't know why. Um, but I will be getting that out soon. I have been letting the cake cool off so that the icing will not melt all over the place when we put it on there. I'm also going to be showing you how to make that sugar glass. And actually, I'm going to go grab one of my axes because we said that one of the axes from the Here's Johnny cakes was going to be in the center of this cake. So we want to make sure that we have that out. I also said, like last night or the night before or something, that I would have a green drink in honor of St. Patrick's Day. Um, so these are the Quint glasses that say Quint's handcrafted chum cocktails. We don't have a chum cocktail, but we have a St. Patrick's Day drink, which is cherry vodka with green food coloring. So, Steve, I think, is in there vacuuming. So, never fear, I will additionally be putting the cake recipe and the buttercream frosting recipe, the link to those things in the description for the video when I'm done with this. Also, I'm going to be telling you the basic steps of doing the cake while we let this cake cool off a little more because I don't want it to be too warm when we frost it. Okay. So, what do we need to make this delicious white cake? So we need 8 ounces of unsalted butter. That is 2 sticks of butter, guys and gals. And I was wrong on the amount of butter that you put in the buttercream frosting. Now I'm gonna get to that. Dana miscalculated in her head, and gladly I caught it. Thankfully, I caught it before I put too much butter in that frosting. We're going to need 14 ounces of sugar or sugar substitute. I use the sugar substitute. So 14 ounces is about a cup and three-fourths, 1 3/4 cup. Okay. You're going to need 6 large egg whites. That's fresh, not boxed at room temperature. Now, I had to use store bought. I don't have any fresh eggs. If you have fresh eggs and you want to use them, by all means. Okay. We're also going to need a 1 3/4 cup of all purpose flour. We're going to need 2.5 teaspoons of baking powder, a half a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of almond extract, and let me just make myself a solo layout here, just while I'm showing this stuff here. Um, so here's the almond flavoring or the almond extract. I just have Kroger brand imitation almond flavoring. Okay, so we need that. Also, we need a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Again, I use this that you can get at Walmart. It's Baker's imitation vanilla flavor, but you get whatever for you. Okay, we're going to need 10 ounces of milk, which is about one, was about 1 1/4 cups of milk. I wish they had just put all these things in cup. All this stuff should be room temperature too. And 2 ounces of vegetable oil, which 2 ounces of vegetable oil is about 1/4 of a cup. Okay. All right. So to do that, I'm just going to go over this real quick. So you're going to preheat your oven to 335 degrees. Now, I know that sounds counterintuitive, but it worked in this case. My cake got done. And I did a 9 by 13, 13 by 9 cake pan, as you could see whenever I had the haunted food cam on. Or you can prepare two 8 by 2 cake pans. And they refer to this stuff, a cake release, as cake goop. I've never heard of cake goop. If you have heard of cake goop, please elaborate on that and let me know what it is. I just use some vegetable oil and just grease the pan like my mom always used to do. Okay. You want to combine your milk, your oil, your vanilla and almond extracts and set that aside. You're going to place butter in your stand mixer with a paddle attachment and you're going to cream it until smooth. Okay. Then you're going to sprinkle in your sugar or sugar substitute and then let it whip on high until light and white, about 5 minutes. Okay. Then you're going to add the egg whites one at a time roughly to the butter mixture while mixing on low and let fully combine after each addition before adding the next. If your egg whites aren't at room temperature, you can microwave them for a few seconds, but if you do that, be careful not to cook them. Cold egg whites will curdle the batter. Okay, so I did not curdle my batter because I let the egg whites sit out until they were room temperature. Okay. Add 1/3 of your dry ingredients to the egg and butter mixture and mix on low until just combined. Then add a half of your liquids, then a third of the dry, then the liquids, and then the rest of your dry. Let it mix until it's just combined. Then you're going to add the batter into your prepared cake pan or pans and bake at 335 degrees for 25 to 35 minutes or until a toothpick comes out clean, one poked in the center. I cooked mine for 35 minutes and it turned out perfect. Let cool 10 minutes. Now you can do this or you can just allow enough time and let it sit out like I did while I was preparing the other stuff and let it cool. But they say let it cool 10 minutes, then turn out the cake onto a cooling rack, wrap warm and place into the freezer to flash chill. Now, what this does is it locks in the moisture in the cake. Once it's cool but not frozen, you can trim off any brown edges of your cake and frost as desired. And then you can chill your cake, which is probably what I will do when we get this frosted. Now, for the buttercream frosting, what do you need for it? Okay. So you need 8 ounces of egg whites. That's a cup of egg whites. I just put the egg whites into my measuring cup until I got to 8 ounces or 1 cup. Okay. 32 ounces of powdered sugar. Okay. So that is, I believe, about, is that 4 cups? So there's going to be a lot of powdered sugar in here. Now, here's where I was wrong on the butter. I told you originally 8 sticks of butter. We're going to need half of it. So don't put 8 sticks of butter in here. In my mind, I miscalculated. You're going to be putting 4 sticks of butter. I know that's still a lot of butter, but please don't put 8 in there. Disregard what I said before. Okay. A half a teaspoon of salt and a tablespoon of vanilla extract. So when you've got all those ingredients together uh, for the buttercream frosting, you're going to combine the egg whites and your powdered sugar in a mixing bowl with the whisk attachment. Whisk to combine on low, then whisk on high, adding in your butter in small chunks. Just kind of tear it into chunks or cut it into chunks. Sorry, what's these? Oh, okay. Um, Adding in your butter in small chunks, add your vanilla and your salt, turn the mixture up to high, and whip until it's light, fluffy, and white. Now, I will show you this again. Mine has been colored. Oops, it helped with the. Okay, let's make this the solo layout for a second so I can show you that icing. I got it, I tried to get it real red, but it turned out sort of pinkish. And I'm just mixing it just ever so slightly here. Um, and again, it's not curdled, guys and gals. It is just merely kind of foamy, but it tastes just fine and all of that. It might have been because I put some edible glitter in there, because I did put that. Okay, feel of this cake. It's almost ready for us to frost here. Okay. So that's all there is basically to making the cake and the frosting. Okay. So we're gonna get to frosting this lovely cake here in just 1 second, but I'm gonna see what you guys are putting in here. Now somebody came in, whoever KF is, and said, surprised you didn't do a leprechaun theme show for St. Patrick's Day. Well, yeah, but my thought process was I really want to do this cake. Number one. Number two, almost everybody and their mother is going to be doing St. Patrick's Day related stuff, right? So I want to be different. So I'm making the prom night cake. Um, so Kathy, you say you watched prom night last night, so you would understand the theme. Very good movie. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I'm glad you enjoyed the movie, Kathy. Um, and Jay is now in here. Jay says, I'm here, was finishing my exercises. Yeah, you got to finish your exercises before you even think about eating cake, right? Um, Kathy says, okay, Jay, knew you wanted to see the icing part. Jay says, yeah, Dana commits emotional rape on me. I'm calling the cops when this is done. Oh, please don't call the cops, Jay. All right, so we're going to start the emotional rape now. And I'm going to make the haunted food cam, the solo layout, get my frosting back out here. And it could be, I don't think anything is spoiled or anything. It could be that my egg whites in this icing weren't exactly room temperature, but the icing tastes fantastic. So I'm really not going to worry about it. I'm really, really not. Now, if it tasted bad, I'd be worried. Okay. We're going to move some things over here. Oh, and by the way, the corn syrup I use is just great value from Walmart, like corn syrup. And this has vanilla extract in it, which I forgot. But, it's not going to hurt to have an extra vanilla taste to this. I think it's good this way. All right. So let's start the emotional rape here, shall we? Um, we're going to start spreading that icing on this cake. And I'm going to pile this icing on as high as I can. Forgive me for making a mess here. So this icing is kind of pink, like Jamie Lee Curtis's prom dress all night. So that works. And then when we get this cake frosted, I am going to put this in the refrigerator. And then we're going to make this sugar glass. But truly, I don't think it was the egg whites that did this to the icing. I think it was the edible glitter because it looked a lot creamier before I put the edible glitter in. So that might be something to keep in mind. The edible glitter is not really showing up so much, so I probably should have played. But you live and learn, right? And so if you were doing the two round cake pans, you could stack these one on top of the other and make a layered. We're just kind of taking the lazy way out here, right? And you wouldn't have to stick with buttercream frosting. If you wanted to use another kind of frosting, I say more power to you. If you have your favorite store bought brand, you don't really feel like making homemade. I just, me personally, for this time, I wanted to try making everything homemade. I'm wondering if Jay's feeling violated right about now. Okay. So, I'm going to set that rest of that frosting back in the refrigerator. Hey, Blair. Blair says he's watching this and Leprechaun 4 in space, which is awesome. Kathy, you say you buy the whipped frosting and the Duncan Hines white cake mix. Kudos from scratch cake and icing. It looks delicious. Well, thank you, Kathy. But I have used, box mixes and I have used that whipped frosting. I absolutely love that whipped frosting, by the way. So, what I'm going to do, just for a little good measure, just going to put a little edible glitter here. There we go. Give it a little pop. Okay. So it looks like some blood spots on there. Well, thank you, Blissful. I appreciate that. Now, let me so I can give Jay a break from having to look at that cake over there. I'm going to make me the solo layout again here. And I just want you to keep in mind if you're making this sugar glass. Now, some people swear by candy thermometers, some people don't. Now, I use my candy thermometer very rarely. When I make divinity, and I haven't made divinity in a long time, I'll use my candy thermometer. Now, for this recipe, for the edible sugar glass, it wants you to make sure it gets to the temperature of 300, okay, which is right about where my finger is, okay. Um, and that is, sorry, I got to slide my glasses up. That's the hard crack stage, okay. So some of the people that have cooked for many, many years, they will refer to things as softball stage, hard crack stage, different kinds of stages, hard ball, hard crack, potatoes, donuts, fish, um, softball, you know. So there's different things. I just go by the temperature. Whatever temperature it tells me that this needs to reach, that's what I use my candy thermometer for. Jay says, "Yeah, Dana, spread that frosting, slow and seductive, sprinkle that glitter." You okay? I'm gonna not read that last part, Jay, but it was funny. All right, so we're gonna get started with our edible sugar glass. Okay, and so we need 2 cups of either granulated white sugar or a sugar substitute. So we've got our 2 cups measured out here. I am using sugar substitute because I was trying to cut down on the amount of sugar because I am diabetic. We're going to need eventually 3/4 cup of water, 2/3 cup of light corn syrup. Like I said, I'm using Great Value light corn syrup with vanilla in it. And if you want your sugar glass flavored, I'm not going to flavor it today. You can basically put any flavoring that you want in here. Now, because my corn syrup already has vanilla in it, it's probably going to taste like vanilla, right? But if you want to add some peppermint flavoring to it, I've got other kinds of flavoring. I've got peppermint, I've got almond. I have something called, and I may be pronouncing it wrong, but anise. I don't know. I may be pronouncing it wrong. That's like a licorice taste. So you could use any flavoring that you want to. I'm just not going to today. All right. So we're going to, in a medium saucepan. I am using my Pioneer Woman saucepan, and no, Pioneer Woman does not sponsor my videos. You love that flavor, Blissful? Well, people that like licorice like I do, you probably would. And so you could entirely add that to your sugar glass, right? So we're going to go ahead and put our 2 cups of sugar in our saucepan. I apologize that I don't have a camera over here that you guys and gals can see. And we're going to add our corn syrup, our 2/3 cup of light corn syrup. Try to get all that corn syrup you can out of your measuring cup. Now, guys and gals, keep in mind this is the first time I'm making edible sugar glass, so hopefully how this turns out. And what I might also do is put a little edible red glitter into this, like it's got little blood spatters in it. All right, so we're going to also put our water in here. So we're going to get our three-fourths cup of water. So we're going to put that in our saucepan. Okay. And then what I'm also going to do, just to add a little pizzazz to this sugar glass, I'm going to add some of my red edible glitter in here. Okay. Just a little bit, okay? And now, we're going to insert our candy thermometer into this. Well, first I'm going to mix it. Okay. I'll stir it a little bit. Stir up that sweetener and with the corn syrup. And I think what this edible glitter is going to do is give this a slightly tinted red color, which I think is going to look pretty cool, but you don't have to do that, right? You got that mixed up pretty good here. So we're going to put our candy thermometer in there, right? And a lot of these candy thermometers have a little clip on them, so you can clip them to your pan. But if you're the type of cook that says, I ain't using no damn candy thermometer, then that's your prerogative. So we're going to set this to boil, okay? So we're going to bring it to a boil and we're going to stir constantly until our candy thermometer reaches 300 degrees, okay? And while I'm waiting for this to start boiling, we're actually going to uh, go ahead and prepare a pan to put this on this sugar glass. Okay, so let me. Or you put some parchment or some wax paper or something like that in your pan. You can use a cake pan. You can use a uh, baking sheet. Oh, stuff's falling out of my cabinet. Right? So Hold on. So I have, I need to actually get some more wax paper. So I don't have very much wax paper, but we're going to make do with what we have. And Dana's going to have to buy some more wax paper. All right. So hopefully won't have any problems. We're going to let this start boiling, right? Okay. So while that's doing that, I'm going to grab me another Coke to drink. Oh, also I said I was going to put this cake in here. We say that, right? So we're going to put the cake in the refrigerator to chill. Take 5 in the refrigerator while we're fixing the sugar glass. Yeah, that is important, Kathy and Jay. Kathy says our daddy made divinity and fudge and always uses candy thermometer. And Jay says I remember daddy always checked the humidity before making divinity, which is a very good thing to check because divinity, or I mean, humidity can kind of make or break your candy. Whether you're making divinity or you're making fudge, whatever you're making. In fact, I think because I've done this before and it hasn't hurt anything, okay, is I am going to get some aluminum foil out to put in the pan where I'm going to be putting this sugar glass, okay? Jay, you say, I remember a Coke bottle upside down in a jar of colored water. Forget what it was for. It had something to do with making candy, as I remember. Yeah, that was probably, an old school remedy or old old school way of doing something. Kind of, to make candy and all that. Okay, so this hadn't started boiling just yet. Um, but I'm almost up to 200 degrees according to my candy thermometer. Oh, that was his barometer. Yeah, that makes sense. Now, keep in mind, guys and gals, that if you are using regular sugar, there is officially 48 grams of sugar in a serving, in one serving of the sugar glass cup. So, guys, gals, this stuff is going to be sweet, which is why I tried to use, because I was putting corn syrup in here. That's why I tried to use my sugar substitute wherever I could, right? So I'm checking this. Now, there are 2 ways. I'm going to kind of skip ahead just a little bit. There are 2 ways. to allow this sugar glass to harden. So you can set it out on the counter for 2 hours, which I'm not going to do, but you can. If you're making this on your own, you got time to kill, or to put it in the freezer for 30 minutes, which is what I'm going to do. We're going to do it the quick way today. And so when this gets done and I put it in the pan, we're going to stick it in the freezer. And then I am going to go away for 30 minutes, for about 30 minutes. I'm not going to keep you guys and gals here while I do that. And then we are going to break this apart, and we're going to put it on our cake. We're going to add our ice to the cake. And then Dana's going to have a piece of this damn cake because I've been really waiting for this. But while we're waiting for this to boil, I did want to tell everybody that I know that I told everybody next Sunday I will not be doing a movie Munchies because I will be at Around Weekend in Cincinnati, getting my picture taken with the three Ramey brothers, meeting William Cat, meeting some of the gang, and who knows what all else I will be doing. Okay, eating out and all that stuff. So we're starting. This is starting to boil here. Um, so we got a little bit to go before this reaches 300 degrees. So I'm gonna give this a stir. Okay. I know it says to constantly stir it, but raise a hands of who sits there and stirs stuff constantly. If anything other than divinity, because I know you really got to be careful with divinity, right? Thing is not wanting to stay clipped on here. Okay, there we go. But Steve reminded me today that he said, "Well, you're not going to be doing one the following one, right? It's Easter Sunday." I was like, "Oops," So for the next 2 weeks, there will be no movie Munchies, so Jay can relax for a couple of weeks. But then I will be back with a vengeance that following Sunday after Easter Sunday, right? And we'll be doing something nifty, I'm sure, for that day. So I'm just giving this a stir here while it's boiling. And this is starting to slowly creep up there. The reason why I got to keep an eye on it is because as soon as it reaches 300 degrees, I have to remove it from the heat and transfer it immediately to a baking pan lined with parchment paper or wax paper, wax paper or aluminum foil. You can also add a little butter to it, right, to make it where it won't stick. In fact, what I might do is use a little of this Pam. I'm going to spray that on my aluminum foil wax paper just to be on the safe side, right? That's the last thing we want to do is stick, right? All right. So we're getting somewhere with the boiling, right? Y'all may even be able to hear it boil here. I'm going to turn it down just slightly. This is slowly starting to go up to 250. Won't be long now, I don't think. So I'm kind of trying to stir this as it's boiling, right? Yeah, so I think this is going to look like glass, but it's going to have like a pinkish tint to it, which I think is going to be nice. I might put some more edible glitter on it after it is cooling, right? We're almost to 250. The main thing is you want it to look like glass, so you don't want to put too much coloring in it that's going to make it look like, unless you want to make it look like stained glass or something like that. Kathy, you say you avoid constant stir recipes unless you got it. Yeah, constant stir recipes are sometimes kind of aggravating. Jay, you say gives me time to heal up after what you did with the thermometer. Kathy says I'm baking cupcakes for grandson John's birthday with uh, Fright Night at Freddy's theme. And Jay said I thought it was 5 nights. That's cool though, Kathy. Kathy's a good grandma to her grandkids. Too, if you're not a big fan of white cakes, which I am sometimes, sometimes not, I was just going to say if you wanted to add a little chocolate like cocoa or something to this cake and make it chocolate, you could, or something to make it strawberry flavored or whatever you want, whatever sounds good to you. But I think we're about at 250. It'll take a little while to get it where we want. Kathy says, Jay, crap, you're right. I was going to use decorative picks. I already have. Um, Jay's letting people know that movie is on Netflix. So I'm turning the heat up just a little bit on here. So hopefully, I don't want to break my thermometer or anything, but I want to get this going so we can move along. Whatever you do, guys, be really, really careful with this. I don't think I need to tell too many people to be careful, but it always warrants saying safety first, right? Be very careful if you're taste testing this stuff while it's cooking, because I almost burnt my lip just a second ago because I had to taste it. Um, and also, don't try not to spill it on yourself because this stuff's got corn syrup in it, folks. And you know what it's going to do? It's going to stick on your hand and it's going to burn like hell. So I don't want anybody to get hurt making this sugar glass. And I'll tell you a little story while this is boiling. Story time with Dana, right? Is that when I was working at a local restaurant when I was still living with my parents, one of my first jobs was working at a restaurant washing dishes. Okay. So I was doing breakfast dishes and there was always a run at breakfast time. So I was cleaning up coffee cups and cleaning up plates and stuff and trying to get them back out there so they could feed more people. Okay. And they brought the big gravy pan over to me. and somehow I upended it a little too much. Hot gravy got on my hand and stuck, and I was like, trying to get it off, and it was burning the fire out of my hand. I was trying to get it under cold water, and it was awful. So be careful. Blissful, you said my mom used to make all kinds of candy to sell. I loved watching her. Yeah, I always loved watching my mom cook candy and any kind of desserts, basically. I've said this before. I learned to cook from my mom because my mom is she's the best cook ever. A lot better than I am. That's how I learned to bake my Thanksgiving turkeys and all that was from watching my mom. And I still yet, will ask mom about things about, Mom, can you tell me again how you cook such and such? And she'll tell me, and that helps me improve. Even though I've been married 10 years, it still helps me improve. Yeah. Oh no, ouch. That's right, Blissful. Um, so we're still, we're waiting for this to reach our 300 degrees, right? And it will get there. It's just a matter of playing the waiting game, right? I'm making sugar glass, Steve.
Go.
Steve's in here.
You make some money glass,
Oh,
some
sugar.
gold glass.
Not making that. I had to get my candy thermometer out. I ain't used that in a long time.
You should use that since you put it up my butt to check my temperature.
Okay, we did not do that.
TMI show.
TMI show with Steve.
Yes.
Steve's got what kind of ice cream you got again, Steve? He's got oatmeal cream pies, and he got me honey bun ice cream, but I haven't had a chance to eat some yet.
Then we go back to sleep.
Go resting. Turn this up, the heat up a little bit more. Just, as you're turning the heat up, just kind of monitor it, right? I just don't want to have y'all waiting here all day for this. I granted you got to be patient, but I'm getting tired of waiting for this to go past the 250 temperature. And I've got the little nodule metal thing down in the stuff, so. I just didn't want my bowling to get out of control here. It's getting there. Give this a stir here. I think something's burning off my burner. Let that keep boiling. It's getting there. Oh, yeah. Something is burning off my burner. You can tell that my burners are well used, right? All right. It's getting up there slowly but surely. We just gotta give it some time here. Kathy said, Blissful, making candy is an art I do not have. Now, Kathy, come on. I know you could make candy. It just takes practice sometimes. All my stuff didn't turn out perfect the first time. Takes practice. And sometimes even when I'm doing these movie munchies, things don't turn out just 100% the way I wanted. Like I wanted my icing to be more creamy this time, but it had other plans. So, but you guys said it looked good, so I won't worry about it. I have not watched the Charles Darning song yet, Jay. I need to. I will do that. Listen, you say, Katie, I tried to make tabby. It turned out to be great hard candy. It happens to the best of us, gals. It happens to the best of us. My mom, even who has cooked for years and years and years, a lot longer than I have, still says things don't turn out 100% of the time for her either. I'm just giving this a stir as we're talking. Yeah. Now we're getting somewhere. We're getting ever closer to 300. Kathy says, Blissful, you're brave even trying to make any candy. Blissful says, Kathy, I love trying recipes I've never tried. Candy is now off that list. So does that mean you guys or you gals ain't gonna make try to make some edible sugar glass? I have, to be honest, I have always wanted to make sugar glass. Always have. And just never had. So you know, I just jumped in with both feet this time, and I thought, yeah, I'm going to be on camera. I know something could go wrong, but we're going to give it the old college try here. Yeah, we're just about there, girls and boys, guys and gals. I really need to get some other kind of camera mount because my mom was telling me, because now my mom watches these things, um, that she likes to see me doing the stuff on the stove as well as seeing me doing stuff over, actually this way, on where the other camera is. Katie says, I know that's bake stuff, and I bake stuff and send it to Jay. All right, gang. We are ready. I'm going to take my candy thermometer out of here. All right. Woo. And I don't know where all that dripped at. Lord knows. Okay. So we're gonna take our pan of stuff here. And actually, I'm gonna move that candy thermometer, which is very hot. Be very careful, gang. Um, and I am going to. Well, first, I'm going to turn back on. Make sure you turn the heat off. Don't leave burners on like I have before. Very dangerous. All right. So I'm going to exit the solo layout. I've got my pan all ready. So we're going to make it the solo layout. And then we're going to pour this sugar glass in our pan here. Very careful because it's very, very hot. And like I said, it's going to have a little bit of a pink tint to it. So for future reference, if we're wanting to add that edible glitter, it might be a good idea to add it after it has started hardening. Okay. I think it's still going to be pretty clear, but all right. So what do you think, guys and gals? It's got to harden. Hey, TJ. TJ says, Happy St. Patty's Day. Wear your green or you'll die. That's right. I had green on earlier. And technically, I have green for the movie Munchies because the little Slimer things on there. Blissful says, I want to make chocolate covered cherries and a few other things. I'm going to be making peanut butter Easter egg. Ooh, that sounds good. I agree with Kathy. It sounds delicious. Uh, Jay says, oh, Bliss, peanut butter eggs. I'd be your best friend. There you go, Kathy. Kathy says, I have green eyes. Hey, happy St. Patrick's Day, TJ. So, as I said, we're going to put this in the freezer for 30 minutes. Dana's going to have to make a place for it. We'll have to move some things around in here. Next, we have a nice, relatively flat place to put this. Right, so it won't come sliding out of the freezer. Made a place for this before, right? Forgot about those. It's amazing what you find in the freezer, right? That I'm going to have to throw away. I'll make that flat, and then this is pan. Make sure it's not extremely hot to touch. Okay. Hold on a sec, guys, and now get that flat. So what we're going to do is just completely out. I thought to be thrown away too. No, Darcy. She was here, right? All right. Now then, that's all right. So, gang, whew. Jay says, that's right. TJ's got green eyes too. Jay says, I'm not wearing green. I want to be pinched. And TJ says, pinch yourself, Jay. He said, yeah, I always pinch myself at least once a week per doctor's advice. So I am going to, well, actually, what are you doing, Darcy? What are you eating? I don't know what that dog is eating. She probably got something she shouldn't have. Not something deadly that she shouldn't have, but probably a food product she shouldn't have. But anyway, I've got the edible sugar glass in the freezer. We're going to leave it in there for 30 minutes. And I'm not going to keep you guys and gals on here. If y'all want to come back in about 30 minutes, I will be decorating this cake. Okay. And then I'm going to get off here for the time being until it's time for a Hard Days Night watch along tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So anyway, if y'all want to come back and see me decorate the rest of this cake in about 30 minutes, you are welcome to. Otherwise, if you want to watch this on the replay, that is fine. But I will be back in about 30 minutes. Okay, gang. I am officially back, and I was in the process of trying to shatter some of this glass here. I think we've got it shattered pretty good. Okay. You may notice that I've already put in a piece. And basically, what you do is once you take your baking pan, and I'm going to suggest that you just dispense with the wax paper or the parchment paper because it kind of stuck on that a little bit. And just use your aluminum foil and spray it real good with Pam. And I think you'll be good to go. And also, this stuff is very sharp, guys and gals. So be very careful with it. Okay. All right. Let me wipe on my hands a little bit. I'm just trying to get some of it broken up. Uh, so let me go ahead and I am going to make this our solo layout. Hopefully it will focus. You can see I've already put our ice in there. All right. And I've also put a big piece of the glass in there. Okay. Let's strategically, can't even talk, place some shards of this glass. So what you do is you just drop the whole enchilada, the baking pan. I wouldn't do this very forcefully, but drop it on the floor and this stuff will break. Okay. And it should break it up into pieces big enough for you to either, stick into the cake or lay on top of the cake, whatever way you want to do it, right? And like I said, it did just fine on the aluminum foil. The wax paper kind of stuck a little bit, even though I put some Pam on there. Well, that's why I say you might want to stick with just the aluminum foil and spray you some Pam on there. And get rid of this wax paper since it didn't do very well. Totally honest. We're going to stick a few more pieces. I think this is really cool, and the sugar glass turned out pretty well for my first time out on this stuff. And you can see that I sprinkled. Oh, you may not be able to see this real clear, but I sprinkled some edible glitter on this as it was hardening. Right? And so we've actually got some left over that we could just eat. And here's a nifty thing I'll share with you guys and gals is this stuff tastes to me like cotton candy, which that's just amazing because I love cotton candy. I really, really do. So you can put as much or as little of the sugar glass as you want on your cake, right? Just trying to put a few pieces on there. I'll make it a little even, right? All right. So, yeah, I'm really liking the sugar glass. Actually, though, I think if I make this again, blissful, I am going to make it more clear and not add the edible red glitter on there why I'm mixing, why it's heated. Because it did turn out clear in spots, but I wasn't 100% happy that it has a pinkish tint. I wanted it to be more clear. Of course, even if it is clear, it's going to be on this pink icing, and it may have a pinkish tint anyway. But you can use this. You don't just have to use this for a cake. You can use this for cupcakes. People have made like murder cupcakes and put a shard of the sugar glass into their cupcakes. And they have looked really cool and put, some edible fake blood and all of that on it. You can be as creative as you feel like being with this. It's adjusting that axe a little bit so y'all could see it better. Um, but I am glad I see that, Kathy seems happy with the cake. Blissful seems happy with the cake. I'm also going to try and remember to take a picture of this thing to put on my personal page and the Deadites on Deck Facebook page for people to see. I'm actually going to move this sugar glass over a little bit. And be careful, if you don't have 100% great teeth, please don't break a tooth out on this sugar glass. Suck on it or whatever, like a sucker, instead of crunching into it. If you have good teeth, by all means, crunch on the damn stuff. But I don't want people to break a tooth off, if their teeth aren't exactly strong. So probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to suck on this stuff like a lollipop or something, so as not to break my teeth out. And I'm also going to save what I didn't put on the cake. Let's see where I could maybe put another shards here. Now that might be too large. I need a narrow piece to lay right there. You can lay them all down. Nothing says you have to stick them where they're sticking up out of the cake or anything like that. Phase it solo layout, and I'll come back on part of it. Thank you, Kathy. Kathy said sugar glass looks like broken glass. Nice. Yeah, that's exactly what we wanted from this. And believe it or not, for me, this being the first time me making sugar glass, it turned out pretty well. I'm pretty satisfied with it. And I'm my own worst critic. So, so I'm going to tie this all up. And, well, actually, I promised y'all I was going to take a bite of this cake. So, hold on just one sec, guys and gals. You're going to see me stick a fork in this. And the cake's kind of cold. Keep that in mind. And we're going to try this. Oh, that's good. That is good. You can see I'm not grimacing up my face or anything like that. That's a good cake. Very moist. And it does indeed, to me anyway, taste like those special type of birthday cakes, wedding cakes, all of that. You heard it here. This stuff is pretty tasty. I'm going to be partaking of this edible sugar glass as well. So you guys and gals get out there and make your own Robin's Revenge Prom Night Cake. I'm going to be putting the link here shortly to the link for the cake recipe and the buttercream frosting recipe as well. Yes, Kathy, you can adapt this to just about anything. You say sugar glass, color blue for jaws would be fun. Yes, it would. It certainly would. Thank you, Blissful. Blissful says yet another mouth-watering live. Yes, and it's mouth-watering for me too. If I did make this myself, uh, actually, I want to show y'all how this white cake looks. So, 1 second here. Me the solo layout here. There you go, guys and gals. Look at that. Yeah, it's good. I always like to taste test this stuff on here so you guys know I ain't lying about how good it tastes. All right. So I am going to get out of here for now. Y'all be sure to join me at 7 p.m. Eastern time tonight if you can. We're going to be watching the Beatles, A Hard Day's Night. I think Candace is going to join me live on camera tonight. So you guys and gals will get to see Candace on there with me. This was drooling. Okay. Well, I'm going to get out of here, gang. And I love each and every one of you. Be good to each other. I'll see everybody next time. And don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends and family if you think might like this content. If you feel financially able to, please join the channel. Throw a few bones my way. I will throw all that money right back into the channel, whether it's new equipment like new cameras and new mics, and heck, even getting another camera for over um, at my stove so that I can show y'all what I'm doing on my stove. So I'm getting out of here, and I will see everybody next time.